The theme song doesn't have to say the name of the show. In fact, most of the best ones don't. Think about it.
Key, that was on the 30th.
Read all about it! Read all about it! Hear ye, hear ye! Get your paper through your ears. Don't have to read it. Don't have to figure out how to fold the paper over. Don't have to feel guilty that there's papers stacking up that you haven't read. Just hear ye, hear ye.
All right, I've joined. What have I missed?
You missed, oh my God, what an intro. I think
Today's
we could
was
almost sign
special?
off. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Hey, August people.
I
People
am
write the
in,
nicest comments, and it just inspires me. One day I'm going to try harder. One day I'm going to put more effort into this for them. For them.
how about for me? How about you, work hard for me?
You don't write nice comments, I've found. In fact, you raise awareness to like the hate. Like right when we were warming up here, you told me, boy, your mask comment we got a lot of hate mail.
Yeah, we did a clip last week of Mike telling the story of how somebody gave him shit about wearing a mask, and he pulled the mask down and said, what did you say?
Well, he goes, you're still worried about that stuff? So I pulled it down in a nice way. I'm like, oh, I'm not that worried. I'm on day 6. And I just watched him get incredibly confused and then turn away.
So, here's the deal. We're not going to get all upset about masks. I mean, it's August and COVID's over, right? It's behind us. There's no more COVID.
This isn't going to help the letter writing situation. This is what I love, though. People like, all right, but just understand you've been conned. Or what was another one? Like,
let me read some of them. Because, look, and I'm not talking about wearing them walking down the street. Airplanes. That's the only place I wear a mask anymore. And I recommend you do the same. If you don't want to,
you're all
that's
hurtled
fine.
into that walkway, whatever the official name of that plank that takes you to the craft. What is that called?
The runway. No, not the runway.
Yeah, but we know what we're talking about. That's when I'm really, although those are air conditioned also. But anyway, here's the deal. I'm not the one that said anything. I'm not walking around angry about masks one way or the other and espousing my views. I simply wore one, and one of these anti-mask people or people that think I'm a scaredy cat and they have some stake in me being afraid. I guess it's because they tie my fear into a fear that maybe dictated policy and affected them. I'm trying to trace it. So they have a resentment of my mindset, I think. But
I mean, look, my bottom line is my wife is a doula. She works with moms and their newborns. My daughter babysits. And they're really concerned because I travel a lot that I'll bring home COVID. Will a mask slow down the spread of COVID? Without any fucking doubt whatsoever. So I'm going to wear one on a plane. That doesn't make me a fucking... Somebody goes, oh, you've been conned. I haven't been conned. You're being
I've been conned by science.
You know, I'm not saying wear it all the time, but wear it on a fucking plane.
Yeah. So, and again... Also, like, take a look at yourself. You're taking the time to write into this jokey podcast with an angry comment to let me know about my mask. I guess because it seemed like I was making fun of that guy. I wasn't really. I kind of was bringing up the point, hey, you never know when someone might be protecting you or think they're or for fact reducing the chance that they'll infect you.
Right. I mean, you can sit there and say the masks don't work, but it's just not true. Are they perfect? No. Do we know for exactly what the numbers are? No. But I know for a fact I have less of a chance of bringing it into my house if I wear a mask. So I'm going to wear it. It just doesn't bother me that much. I don't judge anybody who's not wearing a mask. I don't give a fuck. If you're sitting next to me on the plane with no mask, I don't care. I got mine on. We're good.
I just really hope you don't have it or have symptoms, I guess. But that's going to fade too. It's going to be like the flu. Like Listen, you shouldn't travel if you think you have the flu, but people do, and people never really got in trouble for it. And I mean, you travel so much. It's unbelievable to me when you're on a plane, and I remember thinking this 10 years ago, does half of America have the fucking sickest cough you've ever heard?
Right, I know.
You would just hear airplanes, because I remember when I first got really sensitive to it was, and you're the same thing, we had 2 kids, and we would just haul them back to the East Coast with all the goddamn baby seats, with all, I mean, it was like going camping just to fly back across the country to New York. And every single time we would just get everybody sick who we visited.
Yep.
It was, Christmas was always, how are they doing? Is the temperature down? Like every
I can't
time.
remember a visit back east where we did not end up at the doctor's office.
Right.
Constantly.
And someone goes, some angry listener, who we love, but some angry listener wrote in something like, yeah, you're mad. I guess you'll be wearing it forever because this is the flu now. And I'm like, you know, if I had this much knowledge about masks and the increased or the efficacy that they do have and in reducing the chances, I would have masked my whole family those Christmases that we traveled across country. Asians were doing it.
Did I tell you about the rat? I told you about the rat. We had a rat. Our house got painted. They took off the vents in the
I don't know about this rat.
Okay, so anyway, houses in California have crawl spaces, which means they're elevated off the ground about 2 or 3 feet, and you so there can be ventilation under the house, and you can have access to pipes and all that shit.
Yeah,
so
crawl space.
So we had the house painted a couple weeks ago, and the painter took the screen off. There's a couple of screens that let air into the crawl space, and he just left them off. And a rat went in, and he chewed our fucking sink pipe, the PVC pipe, which is like 1/4 of an inch thick, chewed through it. And water was just freely flowing from our sink for a week under the house. And we smelled something funky. So we hired a plumber. He crawled under there. He's like, yeah, you got a pond under your house. And so he went in.
Pond, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He went in and he kept coming back with more and more kitty litter. And he had to come back twice. That was about $600. And then
kitty litter was to dry it all up?
Yeah, to soak it up. And then we hired another company to come in, and now they have to put in fans, and they have to get rid of the soil that's wet because it'll never dry, and that's about $1,500.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And
now, of course, people are listening. They're all going to write that you're getting ripped off, you Yankee idiot, city dweller, you.
I know. I think I'm going to do the soil thing myself. I think I'm going to crawl under there. And I'm going to put in the fans. I'm going to do all that. Fuck the $1,500. I can do that.
No, also, we live in a desert. That shit, even if it's in the shade, is going to dry up.
There's a heat wave coming.
And you live literally on sand.
Yep.
I would get one of those big, those fans are I think they're called box fans, the absolutely square fans that you get at Home Depot. I remember once this hack, and of course, I don't at all value my time and what I can make actually working on something that I could sell. So instead, I go down these huge rabbit holes. And I remember they're like, I remember it was when I moved into Matt Malloy's, right when I was getting separated. And there was dog hair everywhere, and I got congested, and I don't think I'm that allergic, but I was really like snoring my ass off. Anyway, so I was like, I got to get a HEPA or whatever, and then someone goes, best HEPA ever, like hack. You buy one of those box fans, and then you buy the exact square AC, HVAC filter, and you can get that filter at any rating you want. You can do this, and then you tape the filter to that fan.
To the back of the fan.
The back of the fan on the intake side.
Right.
It will absolutely clean the air in a house within like minutes.
No shit. Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Little hacks from Sunday Papers. You're welcome.
Yeah, because the volume of air that thing compared to like the expensive little, HEPA filter, it's really incredible.
Can we talk about your cousins, your English cousins?
Yeah, the Brits. Okay, so the Brits visited.
We'll start with the party that happened last week because that was a blowout.
All right, so we had Laura, my sister, and George, who are super fun. Laura last night was saying that Greg and Aaron were my favorite things about that part. I mean, Dennis, of course, is just add Dennis.
Laura said we were her favorite part of the party?
I don't know if you guys had a killer conversation. She said that last night.
Wow.
And
I like getting good reviews on a party.
It was great. What?
Whole family was there. It was so fun seeing your daughters and my kids playing. What was that game called? It's like
Rage Cage.
It's like what if beer pong was a mosh pit. That's what this game is.
It's beer pong with the chase quarters element to it. It gets everyone, even being a spectator, is energizing with that game. Like you're not drinking real alcohol. And yet we were having you play and screaming at you because you couldn't get the ball in the cup. Anyway, it was really great. And Dennis was really on fire. And because there was also other Ducks there, other Oregon students, in addition to my niece. And so Dennis has an affinity, obviously, for them. And
your cousins must have gotten drunk, right? What are they, 21 and 19?
That's exactly what they are. You know more about it than I am. Yeah, they are. And then... All right, I have to watch what I say because last night, for the first time ever, my daughter Sophie had to drive me home. We went to J-Rad last night, Joe Russo's Almost Dead, this jam band. They're so insane, but I do have to say, I took, it's all drugs. I took an Adderall before going also because it's kind of like, oh, that's my version of cocaine. So I did that, and then George got me stoned, but I felt like the Adderall fought through it. So I'm standing in the Palladium, like a legendary, I think it used to be a roller rink, but a legendary venue. I've seen incredible shows at the Hollywood Palladium. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not disappearing in this jam like I would if I was stoned. And it just shows you like how important, without marijuana, there's no Grateful Dead. I just don't think there's, I hate saying that because I don't want to cheapen it to that level, but it certainly wouldn't be what it is. I'm stating the obvious, I know. So last night I was like, dude, do you bring anything in here? And he's like, oh yeah, I got this vape pen. So I started hitting that vape pen pretty hard. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. He's like, well, you should slow down. Meanwhile, he didn't even see. I did twice as much as he thought I did. And he's like, yeah, because this is wax.
Oh,
like,
shit.
I'm like, what's that? Cut to me being driven home by my daughter.
How much later?
And by the way, best second half of the concert
yeah,
ever.
right.
Yeah. They have pictures of me in the back seat. One of the reasons I couldn't drive is I wouldn't stop eating cookies.
Well, I was in Vancouver on Sunday, and I opened up for Louis C.K. in Canada all last week.
I got to hear about all. I don't know. We save this before the podcast we get on, and I'm like, I have a million questions, and we like save it for the podcast. I don't know a single detail.
Well, it's great. I mean, working with Louis is great. He flies you in first class. He gives you a suite in like the best hotel in town, and the limos pick you up to take you to the shows. And it's sold out, fucking nice theaters with like smart, edgy crowds that you cannot offend. And it's inspiring to watch Louis because, I mean, he's in my mind, top 5 comics of all time. He's prolific.
I think so also. I really do.
I just think he's ingenious. I just think he has profound thoughts, and yet he's absurd. He's clever. He's edgy without trying to be. He's just so fucking creative and tight. He's just a technician of words on stage. Yeah. And so I'm not going to say any of his bits, but I'll just say that the hour is worth seeing. If he's coming, he's touring in New England this coming week, and then in January, he's got a big national tour. But anyway.
By the way, right before you went away, did you know he was at the Improv?
Yes.
You got to give me a heads up with that stuff. I'd go see him.
Yeah, he did a headline spot at the Improv, and he was raving about how great it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We lost Adam. It sounds like he died. We lost Adam at the store, and I know we have a new friend at the Comedy Store. So I could, but like I'd love to stay a little more in touch with stand-up.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so we're in Vancouver, and I walk past this store. It's called the Fungi Shop. And I walk in, and there's a fucking, they sell, it's legal mushrooms in Vancouver.
Right.
So I walk in, and there's this girl, and she's got like, she's got a lot of very cool tattoos. She has like pink hair. She has on a Dayglow orange tube top with no bra, terry cloth shorts.
2.0.
Yes. She has on, she has eyebrows, and then under the eyebrows, she has another line of glitter, but it all worked. It was like ethereal. And and then we started asking her about the mushrooms, and this one does that, and this one does that, and they got pills, they got lozenges, they got sprays, and then they have the actual plant. And so I bought a whole bunch, and I just ate a handful. And
so you bought a bag of stems and caps.
Yes.
Got it.
And there was we had the night off. So I went to a museum. Me and Louie walked. Put it this way. We walked 32,000 steps.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He was on mushrooms also?
No comment.
Right.
And so we went to an art museum and just got it was the most beautiful. There was a they were featuring women artists, and they were beautiful art, a lot of portraits. And
that didn't ruin your buzz?
Oh my God, it was so perfect. And then we went to this really cool brunch place, and then we just started walking around the city. And the city, Vancouver, has become a shithole. It used to be the most pristine.
I was so bummed when you told me that.
Oh my God, it used to be so clean, and now it's like filthy, and it's so many drug addicts. They legalize drugs, and I don't know statistically what the numbers are, but I can tell you anecdotally, it looks way worse than the last time I was there. A lot of beggars, and so we just sat down at this bus stop, and we were like, Louie was just like kind of studying these faces. And so we just sat at the bus stop, and we're looking at the people, and then this bus pulled up, and Louie's like, "You want to get on it?" I was like, "Yeah." So we get on the bus, and we have no idea where it's going. And within 5 minutes, we're being hurtled over a bridge out of Vancouver. And we end up on like
in a detention center.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a cavity inspection.
Get out, you empty your pockets. What? Wait, we're just enjoying a day. We were at the museum.
Hey, bitch, you like Canada? I'm gonna like that ass. And so it turns out we're on like this in this like Marina Island area, and you can see Vancouver over there's a river that runs through it that's fucking gorgeous. And we're looking at the boats, and we're walking through parks, and then we find a bridge to cross over, and we walk over the bridge, and we come back, and this started at like 11 a.m. and now it's 6:30, and we remember we had passed a theater earlier in the day that was having a film noir festival, and the first film started at 6:15. And so we realized it was 6 o'clock when we finished crossing the bridge, and we were not far from the theater. So we rushed over and sat down and saw we saw an amazing film noir starring, I forget the guy's name. He's the guy, you would know his name. He's a famous old actor. And then is
this story going to end with you and Louie are engaged? This is the most.
It really was. It was like that
romantic day I've ever heard.
And deep talks, beautiful talks and conversations. I mean, I've known Louie for 32 years, and we've raised our kids together. We lived in the same neighborhood in New York and LA, and worked on a lot of the same shows, and so it was just such a great. It was just so great to be around him. I just fucking love the guy. And so we end up we watched the first film, and then we walk out and we realize there's another one starting in 20 minutes. So we run off and get sandwiches at like a 7-Eleven, and we come back in and see a second one. They're, black and white.
Oh, I got to get these shrooms. They're the longest lasting things I've ever heard
No, I
of.
was sober. I was sober by the time the movie started. And but it was perfect because mushrooms, there's no hangover. There's no come down. You just gently, gracefully dismount and you're fine. It's so weird.
Dismount.
And
I think you're talking about Louie.
Oh my God, it was so great. It was amazing.
Oh my God, he's going to want you on tour all the time.
Yeah, I'm the best guy to tour with.
How did you do with the crowds? How the sold out crowds?
It was just so great because I'm used to doing an hour and instead I'm doing 20 minutes. So you just, you pick the stuff you think will work best in front of that crowd and you go up and, we got to Ottawa and Tom Green shows up to the show. And I guess Louie had spoken to him, so he was backstage. And so he grew up in Ottawa. He's from there and he lives on a field.
Tom Green is huge on my Mount Rushmore of entertainers, actually.
Yeah, he's the best. And he's been on my podcast before, and then I hung out with him in Vegas one time, so I was happy to see him.
A few times. He's so nice.
The nicest guy. He's so Canadian. And so Louie asked him if he'll go out and do 5 minutes at the beginning of the show. So he's backstage and he just goes, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Green. And the place fucking standing ovation. They lose their shit. And he goes out and he did a great 5 minutes. And then he sat out in the audience, and then me and Louie went on, and it was the crowd of the week. This was the best crowd. It was so fucking fun. But I'm so inspired to push myself further with my stand-up right now because I started to write a bunch recently, and just watching Louie, it reminds me, like, that's the kind of comedy I want to do. I want to do stuff that's honest, that's talking about real ideas, doing it in a completely reckless fashion and owning it and just railroading through no matter how the crowd is, just like, making them come to you. He's just, I learned a lot.
Man.
I learned a lot. It was inspirational. Yeah.
Good for you. Well, you're one of those people who won't just talk that because you already, I don't know, maybe it's that vulnerability I always talk about with you, but you already have the gravity and the credit, like you already are more than halfway there with that. It's just what you decide to focus that on.
Right.
They're going to go there with you, and not a lot of comedians can say that.
Right. Well, thank you. And Louie said to me, he goes, look, you need to just find the topics that you're thinking about that you think you could never talk about on stage or tell people about, and that's the shit you need to bring on stage.
Yeah.
So look for that, folks. That's coming soon.
Watch out.
What else? We're putting down the other dog on Monday, Hannah, who is the sweetest fucking dog of all time. And she is out of her mind. She walks into walls. She's blind and deaf. She doesn't eat a lot. She's gone. And so it's going to be really hard on JoJo because she's very close to that dog.
All right. I mean, I hate saying it. Brulee. Brulee, you killed Brulee.
Yes.
Okay, you killed Brulee, and it was, if I had to be very efficient and austere with my review, it'd be like, But Hannah, it's going to be like, oh.
Yeah.
If I had one-word reviews for you killing your dogs, those would be the two, and they're quite different reactions.
Yeah, she's a very sweet dog, and it's going to be weird because so much of our life's rhythm is tied into these dogs and feeding them and walking them and holding them and walking in the front door and having the dog be there welcoming you, always like so happy to see you. Like that's a really amazing energy to have in your life all the time, and that's just going to be gone.
Although now when you walk in, you have to tell Hannah you're home a few times and then tell her how to react and to stop staring at the dishwasher, which she has no idea she's even in the kitchen.
Right. And stop rolling around. She's had a blister on her neck for the last month. And we brought her in to see what it would cost to get it fixed. And they'd have to put her under. And they said it would cost about $2,200. And we were like, yeah, that's going in the column of not helping your lifespan.
And she's only alive because of medical intervention now.
Yeah.
And even with medical intervention, it's really amazing she's still alive.
Yeah, she's got no teeth. We have to soften up her food. It's been a good
blind,
run,
isn't she?
She's blind. She's like 16 or 17 years old. She's had a good run.
It's going to be really sad, though. I feel for you.
Thank you.
What else do we have up top to catch up on? What did I put? Oh, I can talk about it in entertainment. Sophie falls asleep with every movie we watch, but she's home. She goes back to Michigan next week. But I'm like, let's go to the best movies of all time list, AFI or whatever, and let's start picking some off. So we watched North by Northwest. And this is what I got out of it. A kid who was like, you should, this scene, every highlight reel of the greatest movies ever, this scene, him running in a suit. But it also had, like, you know, kind of a disinterested teenager. But also it's like, Jesus, could you make me feel more gay? I'm trying to tell you how fucking great looking this guy is. He's one of the greatest looking guys ever put on film. And she didn't think he was that good. She didn't think Cary Grant was that good looking.
Yeah, yeah.
And here I am, apoplectic. Like, I'm just like, I can't even, it's like, is this a teaching moment? And then I'm like, how gay am I? Like, all I'm doing is screaming about how wrong she is about how great looking Cary Grant is.
What are your top 3 gay crushes, would you say, in actors?
Well, I did notice a pattern. They get me if they're really, and this probably is with you too. They get me, same with women, they get me if they're really good looking and funny. Because on the surface, I'm like, that is so rare. And then it's like, what makes you accept? Because the whole world comes to you when you're that good looking. You don't have to fight for fucking anything.
Right.
And so then, of course, I'm like, oh, damage. And I'm like, which is very interesting to me. Because now I have someone who it's the opposite. It is not this easy. I know I'm overthinking this. So like a Hugh Grant gets me.
Yeah.
And a Cary Grant, who was the fucking funniest guy of his time, he gets me also. And both big drinkers, I believe, which tracks with my theory here. And then I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was a crush, but like, it's hard to be cooler than spaghetti western Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. A little too manly for me. I like James Dean because he was all those things. He had a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
He was broken. He was a damaged soul. You saw it the second he walks on screen.
Right.
He was definitely a big drinker, and I think he did a fair amount of drugs.
Yeah.
I feel a little something when I see James Dean.
And I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's
what
a
about
lot
Brad
of
Pitt? How do you feel about Brad Pitt? Too pretty?
Yeah, I think he's damaged too. He's interesting. You know, he's an impressive guy to me. Boy, he's self-medicated a lot, like with weed. And I don't know any. I do know some personal stories, but all of them are also public. I remember Howard Stern talking about that a lot too.
About how much weed Brad Pitt smokes?
Yeah, I remember Howard Stern did a funny thing. He had Tarantino on, and Tarantino at some point talked about like what a great dad Brad Pitt was or whatever. He's like, so anyway, he was trying to convince him to do the German movie, right? And the Nazi movie. And so he visited him on this estate in France. Brad Pitt was probably over there filming something, or maybe owns this villa. And anyway, he goes, so sitting down talking to him, trying to convince him, and he had this big brick of hash, and he cut off some, and we're smoking. And at one point, Howard's like, what do you mean? Did he put his kids to bed? It sounds like the whole house was staffed. No good father has a brick of hash he's breaking out while the kids are in bed. And it was perfect. Yeah. It was like perfect. But there's a lot of those stories. And he quit with the help, I think, of Bradley Cooper. He is dry now. Brad Pitt had to stop drinking.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Bradley Cooper too, huh? And John Hamm, all the hunks. All the hunks are sober.
Cooper, listen, I've been in the same room with him a lot. I played like the Mafia game with him. Like I've played like game night with him, and like God bless him, man. I wish I had half that guy's, even an eighth of that guy's drive. But he's one of those guys, I don't know. There's something missing. Clearly, he's great.
Yes.
There's something missing
There's something sad about him. He's just, well, like John Hamm, you get the same feeling too. Like he's the most charming. He's funny as shit. But he was orphaned at one point, and you kind of feel there's a little sadness there.
I like sadness, but I'll tell you what, I didn't watch all of it, but Ham's role was great in Mad Men because he was a tragic figure.
Yeah.
But listen, Ham and Cooper are great. Don't get me wrong, they're great. But if you're talking about like who moves me and who, like, just I keep leaning forward when I'm watching them on screen, like it's a little less with them.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt too. That not totally there.
Right. I find Bradley Cooper to be distractingly attractive. And I don't mean like I'm feeling anything, but it's hard to see him as an everyman. Everything that happens in the movie, you're going, yeah, but you're so good looking. That doesn't matter. You know what I mean? There's like less sympathy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't find him that good looking, and I know he is. So I don't know what that's about.
All right, let's get to it. I want to
Javier Bardem.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Maybe I like these darker guys, and then I actually thought, I had a theory, and then we'll stop talking about this. In the movie Traffic, what's that guy's name? The Latino guy. Fucking A. I know this frustrates our listeners.
George Lopez?
No, here, I'll look it up. Anyway, he is in that movie, and I had a theory, and it's so funny. My buddy Rob, who works in the Late Late Show, called me. He's like, were you the one? Because he was at Fallon at the time. He's like, were you the one who told me that since Traffic, Brad Pitt has basically been doing an impression of that actor? And he goes, because I tell people that, and everyone screams at me because that's all they can see
Benicio
now.
del Toro.
Benicio del Toro. I am saying even after that movie, Brad Pitt like physically resembled him. He started smoking cigarettes like him.
I could see that.
That squint came in. His face is actually very similar structure.
Yeah.
And I know he worshiped Benicio del Toro. I did know that, and I think that happens to actors sometimes. Hey, listen, it happens to you guys. I know there was a period where everyone was trying their hardest not to sound like Attell.
It's still like that. You go to this Comedy Cellar and just watch the comics. Every other male comic sounds like Dave Attell. It's crazy.
Yeah. So when you're an artist and you're thinking, like almost 100% of the time, how you want to be, what you want to be, and then you see this amazing artist who's nailing exactly kind of what you want. It's very hard to shake that.
We want to thank, speaking of artists, George from Germany from GS Artworks did the logo this week. A great logo.
I got to get a fan. I'm sweating like a pig. Keep going. Keep thanking people.
The song this week comes from Peter Squire. We're going way back. I think Peter sent us that song a long time ago, but we're emptying out the folder that has the songs in it before we pick our permanent song. Some corrections. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Greg? This is from Quinn Kenning. What's up, Greg and Mike? My second favorite comedy podcast duo. I don't have a factual correction, but I would like to punch up a punny joke that was an easy layup for both of you, and yet you still missed it. We got this joke sent to us. I'm not exaggerating when I say 20 people sent emails saying last week when you were discussing Anne Hathaway's stellar nudity in her past films. And Mike said, was it in the movie The Devil Wears Nothing? Come on, Mike, you had it. You meant The Devil Wears Nada.
I know.
Yeah.
In fact, the first comment I saw just said Devil Wears Nada with exclamation points. And I'm like, oh, that's impressive. Did I say that? I didn't. And then other comments, and that's what made me sorry. I saw two comments. So I'm like, obviously it was said. These two people aren't coming up with the same joke pitch, and it turns out way more than two people did. And I was off my game. That got in my head. I'm like, and it's already happened in this podcast. I just stick to making a point in serious issues, and I forget this is a comedy podcast.
Yeah, let's make some more jokes. This one comes from Rich. Love your Sunday Paper Cut podcast. I was quite amused when the both of you thought no one gets busted for weed anymore and that pot is almost universally accepted around the nation. Apparently, you have not been in the upper Midwest, like the barren wasteland that is North Dakota. This is where I'm from. With the exception of Fargo, you get caught with some weed and odds are you're going to jail, at least for the night. And there's a whole thing about how it got voted in. It got voted in by the people, and then the governor somehow made it still illegal. So it is so fucking weird. I go from state to state.
They need it up there.
And it's like, you can fly with weed if you're like LAX doesn't even check you for weed on the way out. And then if you're flying to Massachusetts, Boston, weed's legal, so I assume you can land with it, and I assume you can take off with it. But then you gotta, if you're going to a state that doesn't allow weed, like, would I be, like, if I had a vape pen, let's just say
Connecticut, it's illegal.
Yeah. I'm in New Hampshire. Live free or die. No seatbelts, no motorcycle helmets, no income tax, no weed. It's still illegal in New Hampshire. Makes no fucking sense.
Wow. Yeah. Of course, that great joke, got whoever did it, but live free or die, the license plates, and who makes license plates? A guy in prison. Like, what a kick him when he's down.
Yeah.
He has to print live free or die every day.
Yeah. I remember in Boston, that was one of the standard jokes.
Oh, yeah.
That every comic
for good
did.
reason. It's one of those low-hanging fruit that's just a perfect irony.
Well, speaking of traveling, I'm going to come to Lowell, Arkansas, September 16th and 17th at the Grove. I don't know if I've been to Arkansas.
Let me tell you something. There's a disproportionate amount of great people from Arkansas.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Who?
Well, I mean, I think Johnny Cash. Is Levon Helm from Arkansas? I believe so. One of the presidents of the United States. But a long list of artists also. There's some creative vibe going on down there, especially musically.
All right, here you got Mary Steenburgen, Glenn Campbell, John Grisham.
Jesus, Glenn Campbell?
Johnny Cash, Al Green, John Daly, Sonny Liston.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of famous people.
And I
Bill
can't
Clinton.
imagine it's that populous a state. They don't really have that big a city.
Oh, Al Green.
You said, are you more impressed the second time you read his name?
Oh, did I already say it? Wow. Scottie Pippen, Levon Helm, Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah.
No, and then when he made it with his independent movie at the time, Sling Blade, that created and my boss at HBO, the one from New Zealand, he was married to a woman from Arkansas, and that really started an independent film community down there. I do know that. So that's part of what I'm thinking of. But no, I thought there was even more. Anyway.
And then I'm coming to New Orleans on October 6th at Howlin' Wolf, which hopefully you're going to come with me, and Pete Scott and Duds and everybody will come down. Lafayette, Louisiana, October 7th at Club 337. Chicago, the Den Theater, October 15th. Come on out. That's going to be amazing. San Francisco Punchline, Tampa, Side Splitters, Plano, Texas, all coming up. Go to fitzdog.com for tickets.
Nice.
I also want to talk a little bit about therapy because you know that I have done my fair share with good results. I have to say, I've been in rough times in my life, and I've never looked back and said I'm not better off after some solid therapy. Well, here's how you can do it. There's some people called Talkspace, and it's like having a therapist in your pocket. You can talk to your therapist anytime you want. You can text them. You can do online therapy, and you can talk to your therapist. It's amazing. So I know I've had experiences with online therapy, and I did cognitive behavioral therapy, which is where you're if you're thinking the same thoughts all the time, you challenge the thoughts, and there's like 8 different ways that your mind distorts thinking.
Yes.
So you catch yourself distorting your thinking, and you challenge it, and you write it down, and the next time you have that thought, it loses its power. And the more you do it, the more you neutralize yourself. So Talkspace lets you send and receive unlimited messages with your dedicated therapist in the Talkspace platform, 24/7, 5 days a week. You set goals. Your therapist holds you accountable. And it's affordable. It's a fraction of the cost of in-person therapy. And instead of waiting for an appointment, you just set it up. They have thousands of licensed therapists with years of experience in over 40 specialties. They've got specialties they match you up with. If you have depression, you get somebody who specializes in that. Anxiety, substance abuse, trauma, food, whatever. Anyway, as a listener of this podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace to match with a licensed therapist today. Go to Talkspace.com. Make sure to use the code PAPERS to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's PAPERS and Talkspace.com. Mike?
Oh, man. Here's what I got to talk about. Raycon wireless earbuds. We have them. We use them. I mentioned last night I went to the whatchamacallit concert, J-Rad. And then before that, I met a guy there. You know, we all have these friends who like to know the most about music. And you know what I'm super late to, aside from the earbuds for a second, but this is what I jammed with them, was Tedeschi Trucks. And
sure.
Dude,
she's amazing.
So they're in town Friday, I guess. Anyway, I've been doing a listening with these earbuds as I go out and do like walk around, and they're amazing. So let's get back to the earbuds. They're everyday earbuds. They look, feel, and sound better than ever. They have optimized gel tips. I don't know about you. I have this weird thing. Did I ever tell you my right ear is smaller than my left ear?
No.
The hole. They call it swimmer's ear. And if you've been in the ocean, like cold water for surfer's ear, I think they call it. And it closes up a little bit. Anyway, I have a problem with earbuds, and these things, no problem with them. They're amazing. They have these gel tips, so they get this like perfect fit, and they're not going to budge. The Raycons will give you 8 hours of playtime, 32-hour battery life. They're priced just right. You get the quality audio, half the price of other premium audio brands. They have 50,000 five-star reviews. Anyway, I listen to even podcasts when I'm walking around. I'm still taking a deep dive on Malcolm Gladwell. I'm catching up on him. What do you listen to usually? Do you use them at the gym?
I use them at the gym when I listen to classic rock, and then every night I go to bed with them in, and I listen to really dry biographies. I try to find the most boring biographies I can find, and it makes me fall asleep, right? I just finished Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Really?
Yeah, it was actually kind of beautiful. I mean, it was about it was about, you know, the whole migration west during the, you know, turn of the 20th century.
Nice.
Late 1800s, and yeah, it was pretty wild.
A little side thing here. I saw a lot of people online saying this was like their favorite new album. This Tamar Afek, All Bets Are Off. Has anyone heard of this? Anyway, if someone has something to recommend, I'm looking for new things to listen to. I listen to them on these earbuds. So go to buyraycon.com/papers. Get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon, BUYRAYCON.com/papers. Get 15% off and start listening to all the new artists you're about to recommend to me. Write in. How about this? If you recommend a good artist I like, I'll respond even to your effort and your email.
Oh, there you go. That's nice.
I'm not going to respond to the haters who think I'm pushing my mask on everybody, but I will respond to a nice music suggestion.
Do you have a newspaper to crinkle?
Of course I don't.
All right. Wait, I've got a plastic bag. Let's try that.
I had a plastic bag.
All right, here we go. Front page, made in the USA.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
An apparel company known for inflammatory apparel championing the Second Amendment and Donald Trump has been fined after the Federal Trade Commission found the company falsely claimed its imported apparel is made in the USA. Lions Not Sheep and its owner Sean Whalen were slapped with a $211,000 fine last week when they replaced their Made in China tags with Made in the USA labels. Some shirts on its website read, "Give violence a chance." depict former president as the Terminator, and feature military-style firearms. You have two choices: to be led, or to lead, or to be led. The company's website read on Monday.
They sound like they'd be very anti my mask in the airport also. I doubt they make masks. And here's the thing. Even their made in the USA labels were made in China.
Exactly.
They had to wait till they came in.
Yeah.
To cut out the made in China ones and put in the made in USA.
Right. Because their constituents don't have enough money to buy stuff that's actually made in the USA. You have two choices: to lead or be led. You have two choices: pay the fine or go to jail. They should be sent to a Chinese jail. Imagine how they get treated there.
This tracks, by the way. I mean, they are these guys who do not give a shit about sheep. It's like, look at all this aggro language and everything. Of course, they're going to use slave labor to make their products,
right?
And pay a human less than it's worth for the work that they're going to receive. Yeah, this is totally in line.
Do you remember when Trump was on some late night talk show and the host said, it might have been Leno actually.
No, are you talking about his tie?
Yeah,
Letterman.
Oh, was it Letterman? Oh, yeah. So he had on one of his ties, and Letterman turns it over and looks at the label, and he holds it to the camera and said, "Made in China." It's fucking great. This was very sad. Salman Rushdie will likely lose an eye after this attack that just happened to him. The news is not good. His agent said he will likely lose an eye. The nerves in his arm were severed, and his liver was stabbed and damaged. The Booker Prize winner has lived for decades with threats and a bounty of more than $3 million on offer for killing him over his book, The Satanic Verses.
Yeah, that was since '88. Isn't it a fatwa? This is the
slowest fatwa ever. I mean, it's ironic that Rush is in his name. I mean, die, yes, but Rush die, not exactly. Slow die.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, I can't believe. Have you seen the video of the attack?
No. It's not a good video, right?
I didn't see it. When I heard how bad it was, I almost then didn't want. I mean, real stabbing is not fun to watch.
Dude, there was 2,500 people there, and it took 20 seconds. That's a long fucking time for anybody to intervene. Where's his security? You're Salman Rushdie. You got $3 million on your head. How do you not have security that is fucking on their toes? They should be standing just off stage, because this happened on stage. They should be no more than 12 feet from him backstage waiting for something to happen. That's insane.
Yeah, I know, but it's since '88. I think they get a little slack. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
also,
you can't.
He became. Who did he marry? He married
Christy Brinkley.
No, he didn't.
Uptown girl. She's been living in a
Padma Lakshmi or something. I don't know. He pulled in some tail. I'll tell you that.
He pulled in some tail.
That's what I'm going to say about this guy. Welcome to the Uneducated Podcast.
He was satanic.
Hold on. It's worth looking up who he.
The whole thing on Curb was so fucking funny when he had his fatwa, and how suddenly every woman wanted him because he had a fatwa on his head.
Oh, is that that was okay? Got it.
Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah. He's been married 4 times, and he's hold on here.
Wow.
Hold on here. The unlikely Lothario, who basks in the social limelight, 4 times married literary giant Salman Rushdie, has wooed a string of women despite being slammed by ex-wife Padma Lakshmi as a spoilt baby who needed constant praise and frequent sex. Someone read my diary.
Hey now.
This is in the Daily Mall that I just called up. He's 75. He's been married and divorced 4 times. Death threats, right? First wife was Clarissa Loard in 76. Divorced in 87. Then Married Pulitzer Prize
how
finalist.
interesting, the year he got famous. He divorced his wife.
Pulitzer Prize finalist Marianne Wiggins. Was she hot? I mean, she's a Pulitzer Prize finalist.
Can't be
It sounds
hot.
like he married her for her brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, he went into hiding after their divorce. Was she that? That must have been a bad divorce. Anyway, then Elizabeth West, and then a model. Yeah, Padma Lakshmi. So anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
A California dermatologist has been arrested after her husband secretly recorded her allegedly poisoning him by pouring Drano into his drinks. Dr. Yu was arrested. So I guess I caught you. Sorry. Caught you red-handed. She was booked in the Orange County Jail. Her husband...
You did it.
You did it. I can't believe you.
Yes, I'm blaming you.
You tried to poison me.
What are you thinking?
Fuck you.
I'm gonna fucking have you locked up, man. You better not get parole.
I never want to see you again.
What have you been doing to my lemonade?
So, in a bid to catch his wife, he placed cameras in the home that surreptitiously recorded evidence in the case and shared the footage with police. The husband fell ill over the course of 1 month and sustained significant internal injuries. Chen said in the filing for restraining order that he caught Yu on video on 3 occasions putting drain cleaner into his hot lemonade drink. Wow, this lemonade's got a real kick. Really clears out the sinuses.
Me put Drano in your Coke.
No.
Oh, and I can't make fun of you? You said it, not me.
Let's get to abortion, shall we?
Wait a minute. This has to be the worst doctor in the world.
Yes.
I mean, doctors have to try hard not to kill people. You can't find an easier, less barbaric way of killing your husband?
The Hippocratic Oath, thou shalt do no harm.
I don't think you believe that. This is crazy. That's like the Sixth Sense type of poisoning.
I love that. I love that it's Orange County. It's so Orange County. This high level white collar crime.
All right. Well, I hope you get what you deserve. I hope you gets what she deserves.
In Nebraska, a mother and her 18-year-old daughter are facing multiple charges in a case that involved police obtaining Facebook messages between the two that authorities allege show evidence of an illegal self-managed medication abortion, as well as a plan to hide the remains. Police began investigating Celeste Burgess and her mother Jessica in late April, following concerns Celeste had prematurely delivered a stillborn fetus. Stillborn's a weird word because it sounds like, well, he was stillborn. No, he was stillborn.
Yeah, like a still life.
After the it's the opposite of still life.
It sure
still
is.
dead.
Sure is.
After the two were initially charged, law enforcement continued to investigate, obtained Facebook messages, which means Facebook fucking gave over this information.
Maybe, or they went in their computers.
They obtained Facebook messages between Celeste and Jessica. No, these are messages. I think they were DMing each other. That
I
appear
know,
to
but
make...
if they took their phones and stuff, they could find all of that.
Right. Oh, that's true.
So I don't know.
It appears to make reference to abortion pills and burning the, quote, the evidence. Police claim that after the body of the fetus was exhumed, it appeared to have thermal injuries, indicating it may have been burned after the pregnancy was terminated.
This is a confusing story to me. I mean, is it a stillborn fetus or...
I think what they're saying is she's in a state where abortion is illegal.
Right.
And she performed a medical, a medicinal abortion.
How far along? That's what I'm missing
Well,
here.
They don't say.
burning a body. Like, what? How far along was this woman?
I don't
right,
know,
anyway.
but I guess the fetus was, I guess the woman had a right to,
This is why I don't go on Facebook anymore.
Yeah, too many people tweeting about their.
Too many abortions on Facebook.
Yeah, they need a new They need new emojis. They need the first trimester emoji.
Yeah. I wonder what pops up when you're texting when you put stillborn in there. They gotta have some suggestion.
Just a sad face.
And then they track the people that use that emoji. That's how they get them.
The Safe Haven baby box at a firehouse in Carmel, Indiana.
Good Lord, unwanted children. Is that the theme of this podcast?
Yep.
All right, go
Looked
ahead.
like a library book drop. It had been available for 3 years for anyone who wanted to surrender a baby anonymously. No one had ever used it until April when the alarm went off. Victor Andres, a firefighter, opened the box and found, to his disbelief, a newborn boy wrapped in towels.
Like 7 firemen ate the baby. They thought it was Uber Eats delivering their meal. That's the drop box.
The discovery made the local TV news, which praised the courage of the mother, calling it a time for celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Later that month, Mr. Andres pulled another newborn from the box, and in May, a third baby appeared. By summer, 3 more infants were left at baby box locations throughout the state. So conservatives rejoice when you leave a baby in the box. Now, voting ballots, it's not safe. It's not safe to put those in there.
This story stinks of right-wing propaganda and pro-life propaganda, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, all of a sudden, you see the great effect of, like, it could have happened this fast.
Yeah.
These are 9-month-old babies.
I think we should get the burnt
Or
fetus corpse.
9-month term. Yeah, what?
We should get the burnt fetus corpse from Indiana and leave it in that fireman's box. They're used to seeing burnt stuff.
Fire inspector's there. He'll figure it all out. They burn it. Fire started on the right shoulder. I think if you're going to drop a baby at a firehouse, I think it should be dropped from the roof and it should fall in one of those trampolines that the firemen are holding. Let's make it a little fun.
Babies love trampolines.
Yeah, here comes like a 7-pound little wrapped up bowling ball. Let's see how high it can bounce.
Or get a belt, strap it to that pole, send it down the pole.
Come on, and forget a drop box. All right, what's this one?
Las Vegas? We don't have to do this umbrella one.
I don't even know what that was. Las Vegas. All right, the city's entire strip suffered major water damage on Thursday night as videos shared on social media showed casinos turning into rain gutters. The National Weather Service for Las Vegas issued a flash flood warning as well as a flood advisory Friday as water flooded some of the city's most iconic buildings. Video footage shows Caesars Palace struggling to deal with the heavy downpour as floodwater could be seen pouring into diners at the hotels into the restaurant and hitting people dining in the hotel's indoor restaurant. It was. Did you see footage of this? I guess it's like a record-breaking monsoon season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't read this and not think about Taxi Driver.
That's exactly what I thought of. And then when I went into the document, I saw you had posted that quote in there.
All the animals come out at night. Whores, skunk pussies, buggers, queens, fairies, dopers, junkies, sick, venal. Someday a real rain will come and wash all this scum off the streets.
Is that DeSantis' campaign slogan? I think it is.
Yeah.
How about a guy who's just on a bad streak and he's like, Lord, just give me a sign. I swear to God, I will quit gambling for good. Just give me a sign. All of a sudden, fucking like drowned rats are flying under the table and you're like, hey, you're up to your knees in water. Like, no, just come on. One sign. If I could feel your presence, I will not play this next hand. Sir, we have to close down. What do you mean you have to close down?
Dogs are swimming by, trying to grab his leg. Just any sign, God, anything at all.
No, you can't. I just got to get back to even. Then I'm going to walk away.
Oh my God. Yeah, fuck Vegas. I'm so done with Vegas. It's just a money grab. Everywhere you go, somebody's hand is in your pocket. It's the worst.
It really, I mean, it is a foodie town. You can have fun if you go in with the right perspective on it. Go there for a show, you know what I mean? Like, see a concert.
Yeah.
I saw, by the way, I will say this. I remembered a Vegas concert. I know I talked about this on the podcast before, but our friend Chris Weinstein was in New York. He was at Madison Square Garden. Rage Against the Machine played 5 nights in a row at Madison Square Garden. And he sent me some footage. It was unbelievable. And, Zach, the lead singer, hurt his leg. They just canceled their European tour. But anyway, the first time I ever saw them, they were warming up for U2 in Las Vegas, and it was the Zooropa tour. And it was, like, in my opinion, U2 couldn't follow them. It was.
And were they known at that point?
Not really, no. So the Zooropa tour had this bomb on purpose. It was like Kmart tour or Pop Mart. And it had this intentionally bombastic stage with a giant martini glass, and it was crazy overblown and over the top. And then, of course, the warm-up band gets this tiny little drum kit, that looks pathetic. It looks like a high school talent show setup, especially with the backdrop of this this bombastic, set that U2 had. And then these little guys walk out, and they walk up, and it's daylight. I remember Pam and Tommy Lee had just walked by me. It was general admission on the floor. All these just chairs put in the outdoor stadium in Vegas, and they walk up to the mics and they're like, "Hello, we're Rage Against the Machine from Los Angeles, California," and they ripped into a song, and all I know is within minutes, I'm throwing chairs. Just everyone started, and no one was paying attention. It was still light out. Half the stadium hadn't even come in yet. Everyone's still tailgating, and everyone just started throwing chairs and were kind of rushing up to the stage. It was so incredible. I'll never forget it as long as I live.
I would love to see them live, but I can't listen to them. I never feel like my energy can match their energy when I'm listening. If I'm driving and they come on, I got to change the channel.
Wow. All right.
It's too much.
Oh no, I think you'd get go. I think it would be good. If you can go to 2 film noir movies in the middle of the day and get pumped for that, I think you're going to raise your energy to this. I do.
That's true. Speaking of concerts, let's go to entertainment.
You got it, pal.
You put in something in here about Carson Daly. Why don't you read that, because that sent me down a fucking rabbit hole.
Carson Daly. All right, so Carson Daly thought he was going to. Sorry, there's a second documentary that's come out about Woodstock 99. It seems like it's been done by HBO, but now Netflix has one. So Carson Daly thought he was going to die at Woodstock 99. And it's not because he saw Jamiroquai. That's my little joke. The Netflix documentary is called Trainwreck Woodstock 99, shows all the carnage. Spin reported at the time that festival goers, fueled with rage over the conditions, but also just acting out, hurled gay slurs at Daly.
How do you not?
And derogatory sexual remarks about his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Love Hewitt. I doubt they were derogatory.
Nope.
One person threw a cup of water in Daly's face. This was on film. And the beleaguered VJ mumbled, "Just tell me, man, that wasn't your piss." And then Daly's face was the target of many overpriced plastic water bottles.
I had to see this. So I went to Netflix, and this is why I was late today. We were supposed to start recording at 1, and I was late because I had to watch it. It's 3 parts, and you can't believe, because I remember it went badly. All I remembered was Woodstock 99 went badly. It went bad. I didn't remember any of the details, and so I watched it. I mean, it was fucking nuts when they went up there. It was, bands that I don't love, Limp Bizkit and bands like that.
Yeah.
Korn, Korn.
Right, yeah, Korn was there, absolutely.
They went crazy for them, and I don't disrespect those bands. They're just not my thing.
I do. Right.
And so, the crowd, 250,000 people. And the security was basically, they just put out an ad for security and they gave you a yellow T-shirt. No qualifications, no restrictions. The guards, there was video of guards, fucking girls and getting high with groups of people. Like, they were just part of the crowd. There was no security. And so you've got the 250,000 people, I would say 200,000 of them were mosh pitting. The entire fucking crowd was a mosh pit. People overhand haymaker punches to the face, diving into each other, body surfing where they ripped girls' shirts off, and you could see them grabbing their tits, and it was nuts.
I heard it was great.
Complete chaos. And then they tore down the tower that had the speakers on it.
Yeah,
they
no.
ripped it
And also
down.
there was fires everywhere.
Oh, why was there fires? Because at the end, when it was Red Hot Chili Peppers with Flea stark fucking naked on stage, they're the last band, and they want to go out with a bang. So the concert promoters thought it would be a great idea to hand out 100,000 candles. So they hand out the candles, people light them, and then they started lighting bonfires, like a dozen giant bonfires, where they were ripping the fucking any wood they could find. Yeah. They ripped down and threw it in. They were burning trucks. Yep. Propane tanks were exploding like bombs. And so what did the Red Hot Chili Peppers do? They broke into Fire by Jimi Hendrix with Flea jumping around naked. It was bedlam. It was like a fucking scene from a movie.
Flea is such a spiritual dude. I wonder how he feels about it. I wonder, looking back, how he feels.
But they hate MTV had a stage set up, and they had to evacuate because everybody felt like this was so corporate. Everything about it was so corporate. It was just like overpriced concessions.
They charged the shit. It was a money grab.
It was huge money grab, and they saw MTV as behind it, and so they were just throwing shit at their stage where they were trying to broadcast. And they ran
Carson
them out
Daly
of there.
had to be rushed out, right? Didn't they? They all of a sudden get in a vehicle and tear through a cornfield or something like that. I remember the details about it. They had to be rushed out or something.
Yeah, I wish his whole life was like that. I wish everywhere he went, it was like that.
He, when we've crossed paths over the years, we were both, he had a late night show, so nice to me. And
of course he's nice. Of course he's nice. That's what he does.
I always wondered,
that's what untalented people do. They're nice.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll just let that one go then. He's very nice. Let's just stop there. All right, dude, have you seen the fucking rehearsal yet?
No.
All right, I have an update. I have not seen last night's. We're recording this on Saturday. They come out on Friday on HBO. But I did see episode 4, and it goes to Looney Town. Thank God I wasn't stoned when I was watching episode 4, because I literally had to pause at one point to do the math of how many layers of rehearsing were going on. So that's my update. But
it's the most talked about show I've seen in a year. Everybody's talking about the rehearsal.
Well, we're building it up a little too. This is how you should approach it. It's a little nugget. Try to imagine no one's talking about it. That's how I found it. But you have been tipped off that it's a little, because it's not sci-fi. It's not weird. It's not like, oh my God, Black Mirror. That's not the experience we're sending you to go view. It's just
performance art, basically, right?
No, here I got to lower your expectations. It's way simpler than that. The premise he states in the opening minute is, I'm socially awkward and I developed a sense of humor, and that helped me a lot. But I've always wondered if I could rehearse a real social situation that I'm nervous about, if it would have gone better in my life. It's literally, there's no tricks. It's literally, I've got to tell someone something that I'm uncomfortable telling them. Can I rehearse it?
Yeah.
That's all this thing is. That's it. But he's very funny. So anyway, all right, just.
Well, his other show, Nathan For You, is really great, really interesting and funny.
So you should do that with the whole family.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen it yet, is I'm waiting to watch with the family.
Okay, good.
All right, let's make Florida.
Kill your dog with the family, and then hold on. There's more. So I started watching The Old Man. You did too, right?
Didn't no.
Oh, boy, it's with Jeff Bridges, and it's really like you're watching Chris Christopherson the whole time. I'm 3 episodes in. Sophie and I started watching it, and I like it. I mean, I don't know if it's great, but I love Jeff Bridges, and I'm kind of liking it. And then Sophie and I, in addition to North by Northwest, watched Gladiator. I think it's my top 10 movies of all time.
Really?
Maybe top 20.
Russell Crowe?
Well, that's not what I think about when I think about Gladiator. I think about, the director who I love and whose name, boy, I'm tired today. Alien, fucking everything. Ridley Scott. And Blade Runner. Ridley Scott does such an amazing job in Gladiator. It's incredible. And holy shit, Joaquin Phoenix is so good.
Yeah.
Now, you don't love that movie?
I love the movie. I need to see it again. I think I only saw it in the theaters, and that was probably, 20 years ago?
It is Shakespearean, very literally, in that the dealing with this Roman story and all the backstabbing and everything. And I think it was an incredibly important precursor to Game of Thrones. It's like the tightest version of Game of Thrones in some ways, because there's crazy backstabbing and there's crazy jockeying for power in a Rome which is hurting, and a lot of it is based, in terms of in fact, like when they would put on the games just to please the people as Rome was growing more and more corrupt. Anyway, just if you haven't seen it, and I think it's Hans Zimmer does the music, it's incredible.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's make America Florida.
We sure are. This is from Brian in Madison, Wisconsin. He said we had to do this story. A Florida woman, how do I want to read it? Because I also got a criticism that I give away the punchline in stories by reading the headline first.
Well, you read the headline, and then in the first sentence, you repeat basically what the headline was.
Well, all news articles are so repetitive. I try to skip the first paragraph, which does restate the headline. All right, here, I'm just going to read the story. A Florida woman said state officials are making her give up her beloved pet alligator, a gentle giant named Rambo. Perfect name for an alligator pet in Florida. Rambo is potty trained, understands sign language, and loves to dress in costumes.
Yeah.
But they're making her give him up because he's grown too big. Quote, he's like my son. He's my family, Rambo's owner, Mary Thorne, told the Daily News. He's not a normal gator.
Imagine how shitty her real family is, that this is her new family.
He's not a normal gator. He has never been a normal gator. The Lakeland woman said a recent growth spurt put the 15-year-old Rambo, I don't know if they have growth spurts at 15. The 15-year-old Rambo, the growth spurt has put him at 6 feet long, and the Florida Fish and Wildlife officials require gators that big to live on properties with at least 2.5 acres of open space. But Thorne doesn't have that extra land, so Rambo, an indoor gator who rarely goes outside except when she takes him for rides on her four-wheelers. And there's the photo, and he's on his own four-wheeler. It's not like he's in a sidecar or on the back.
Can you please explain what's on the back of her motorcycle?
I didn't see that. So,
she's got a
this is a photo. She's on her own motorcycle, and the gator is on a little four-wheeler, like the kind you'd have for kids, but on the back of her motorcycle is a baby seat. That you strap into a car. Oh my God. I'm thinking that's for Rambo though.
He's got a tail. You can't put an alligator sitting in a baby seat when he's got a tail.
Oh really? Well, the alligator is in jeans right now. Look at that. So you explain the tail situation to that.
He is pretty fucking cute.
I think
gotta
there are
admit
workarounds.
that. Yeah. But you can't if you're not watching our show on YouTube, we'll just describe her. She is wearing a wife beater, boots pulled up over her jeans.
For women, I think it's called a tank top, but go ahead.
And she's got a Crocodile Dundee hat, and she looks ornery.
Yeah, she does not want to be bothered by authorities.
I fucking like her. I need one friend like that in my life, just to shake it up.
Well, you better pick them young. I don't think they last that long.
The alligator probably bites less than Brule did, and I could never dress him up.
You also would not get rid of your pet, no matter how dangerous it was.
Yeah. All right, speaking of dangers, let's go to international.
I can't wait.
Steven Seagal.
Seagal.
A Hollywood actor turned vocal Kremlin supporter is visiting eastern Ukraine to film a documentary aimed at changing the perception of the war there. Steven Seagal said that 98% of people who are talking about the conflict in media have never been there. That's why the world doesn't know the truth. He wants to change the perceptions of this war. In the widely publicized visit, Seagal, who was granted Russian citizenship in 2016, visited the site of the July attack on Olenivka prison that killed at least 50 Ukrainian prisoners of war. Pro-Kremlin television host Vladimir Solovyov said Seagal's personally examined the evidence. He personally examined the evidence, including the pieces of American rockets that confirmed Kiev's links to the mass murder of his own soldiers. Thank God we have actors that can go over and assess international war zones and come up with, quote, the truth.
Yeah.
Because he's not being paraded in front of hand-picked pieces of data by the Russians. No. He's going everywhere.
Why am I seeing so much footage of him doing his fake karate where he twists the guy's wrist and the guy spins out of control?
I love that. Yeah, that's the greatest.
He is giving these clinics everywhere.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of black belts. He's studied at all the great dojos of the world, and he's got these. I think that particular style is called. I can't remember, but yeah,
jiu-jitsu or something.
No, it's not jiu-jitsu. It's somebody will write in and tell me, but it's all based on like holds and like you twist the guy's wrist and you can make him flip over. But these guys were clearly diving over on purpose.
Listen, and can we just leave international political inquiry to Dennis Rodman? Can we just? Why do we need Steven Seagal?
Yeah,
we
let's
already
keep it
have
serious.
Rodman.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some sports.
You got it, Pally. So did you read this? Tom Brady is taking some time away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to deal with personal things, according to the team's head coach. The 45-year-old quarterback missed practice on Thursday, and Bowles, the coach, told reporters that he will not return until after the team's second preseason game on August 20th. I mean, maybe it's not a big deal.
He's never missed a workout. This guy famously doesn't miss a single practice. This is a big deal. His wife didn't want him to come. He retired because his wife wanted him to retire. And then he said, you know what? I just realized you're not telling me what to do. And so he went back to football, and now he's dealing with the consequences of that.
That's what you think's going on, huh?
I don't think there's any doubt in my mind.
Maybe he slept with that woman who has the alligator in.
Oh shit, that's right. She's
on
right
its
near Tampa
own,
Bay.
on its own little four-wheeler. Yeah.
Maybe that's what that little seat in the back is for. It's for her little Tom Brady.
She could have been with child. I mean, it's hard to tell from the photo, but she looked like she could have been with child.
Yeah.
Maybe a little Brady.
She could be with Burrito and with Six Pack.
I wonder what this is, though. Like, I don't know. It seems like you could, if it were that, you could deal with that without drawing so much attention to it. Are there more rumors since I put this story in there?
No, I've been following this story, and it's very, everybody's pretty tight-lipped about it. Nobody's. I mean, there's plenty of theories. Most of them in line with what I'm saying. I mean,
could he have lost? Is it because he lost so much Bitcoin? I doubt it's that.
By the way, what about Matt Damon telling everybody that, what was his line from the Super Bowl ad where he told people to buy Bitcoin?
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean,
no, all of them. Yeah, they've gone silent, by the way.
I
It's
read
like
an
kind of a
article
story.
that Bitcoin has lost about 70% of its value since he told people to buy it. And that's like, these are people that are really influenced by people like him that probably took their life savings of, $100,000 and bought Bitcoin, and now they're going to try to retire on $30,000.
Yeah. He's the cooler.
Jason
He's
Bourne.
like the cooler.
Yeah. Does he need the fucking money that bad? Do you not make enough money per movie that you have to go out and do commercials for fucking sketchy investments? What the fuck? What is with celebrities these days? They're so goddamn greedy.
Were they paid in Bitcoin? That would be ironic.
Oh, maybe he was paid in Bitcoin. I hope he was.
All right. Poor Tom Brady.
All right.
Trouble in paradise, maybe. We
what
don't
else
know.
is going on in sports? Oh, your Jets lost their quarterback for a few games.
Oh, lovely.
Did you hear about that?
No,
he injured his leg preseason, and he's going to be out for the first few games of the season.
Weren't they playing Philadelphia or something? I couldn't even look at it's so.
Yeah.
All right, I got to get in these suicide pools this season. Why not?
All right, I'll get you in my pool.
And then there's another big one going around. Maybe Gibbons knows it or something. But I'll go in. I'll go into these things, not knowing what the hell's going on.
All right, let's do this day in history.
I like that idea.
1985, Michael Jackson takes control of the Beatles' publishing rights. Do you remember this moment in time?
I do remember this moment.
Outraged.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, Michael Jackson, there's more respect for him now than there was back then. Back then, like, we were so anti-disco that he fell under that. And he represented that kind of, like, MTV-ization of music. And people didn't respect Michael Jackson at all. And when he bought the Beatles, it was just, again, another fucking greed. Like, why were the Beatles selling their publishing rights?
I don't know what. I mean, clearly McCartney did not have control of them because he was outbid by Michael Jackson.
Well, it was during their collaboration on 1983's Say, Say, Say that former Beatle Paul McCartney is said to have advised King of Pop Michael Jackson to invest some of his enormous wealth in music publishing. It was sound financial advice that McCartney may have come to regret giving on August 85 when Michael Jackson purchased the publishing rights to the vast majority of the Beatles catalog for $47 million. That's nothing. $47 million? To understand the sound business reasoning behind Jackson's move to take control of the publishing, well, whatever, blah, 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 blah. This was for 251 of their compositions. This explains how you make money from that. John Lennon and Paul McCartney, the Beatles' primary songwriters, did something slightly more complicated. The publishing agreement they signed was with a company with which, whatever.
This is very complicated. I'm reading the details about their publishing arrangement with McCartney and Lennon.
In the years afterward, the catalog allowed Jackson to remain solvent by serving as collateral for several enormous personal loans that funded his extravagant lifestyle through the years. Yeah, he liked to splurge on things like paying parents to have sex with their children. And in 2008, Jackson gave up his remaining interest in the catalog to Sony, one of his primary creditors. After his death, Sony took full control of the catalog.
Yeah, he was always interested in boys.
He liked their early stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I do remember that. But, in reading, I just read through as quickly as I could a lot of those details. It wasn't as bad for McCartney as it seems. I mean, basically, Michael Jackson was paying McCartney.
Oh, McCartney was still getting a revenue stream?
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What happened, it looked like McCartney and Lennon set up a publishing company called Northern Songs or something. And that company would get paid anytime the song was used. And then that company that they partly owned would pay them, blah, blah, blah. It seems very complicated, but anyway.
I think I remember reading that Paul McCartney was the wealthiest person in England.
Really?
Yep.
I find that hard to believe.
Well,
I mean, isn't like Seagram's, all these giant sort of wealthy empires are there? All right, whatever. Old school money.
if we had, we should point
Branson.
out Chris Denman. Oh yeah, Branson. We have to point out Chris Denman is not with us this week. He is in Scotland, I believe.
What is he doing there?
I don't know. Maybe going to a wedding or something. All right.
Oh
So
my
there's a
God.
guy. There's a Indian guy who's worth $11 billion.
He doesn't count.
James Dyson. Oh God, I don't even see him on the list after saying that.
That tracks. That tracks.
Yeah, it's all people with foreign names.
Except Branson.
Yeah, I don't see Branson on the list.
Yeah, I got him here. And Peter Coates. What does Coates do? Oh, he's joined the billionaires. All right. Well, it's all changed. It's all. I wonder what it was at that time you're talking, though. There was far fewer billionaires.
Yeah.
Far fewer.
Yeah. Maybe he's the wealthiest entertainer or something. I think Rod Stewart actually has a ton of money also.
No doubt. Yeah, I
And
told you I
and
went
I'm sure Bowie did.
to the Hollywood Bowl. Well, it's interesting you bring up Bowie. Bowie, I think, was definitely the first popular case of selling his catalog.
Yeah, that's right.
Wall Street firm or anyway, investors, maybe a hedge fund, they approached him and I think they gave him $50 million while he was still alive, like probably 20 years before his death. I'm forgetting what year it was. And it was very new, creative thinking.
It was also, he was one of the first musicians to really go online and he was the first one to do music videos. He was the first one to have his music available online. He was the first person to put extra content online. He was all over every new technology when it came to music.
He's very, it goes viral now and again. Him being interviewed about the internet, which was incredibly new, and him kind of grasping its potential.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting how articulate he was about it.
Yeah. All right, let's do some letters to the editor.
Oh, okay.
I think my crinkling is very quiet today.
Yeah, it is.
It's like soft plastic. Here's from Craig from Edmonton. 2 relevant hacks for snoring. We talked about my wife is having some snoring issues. First, a noise machine makes it a lot easier to sleep in the same room as your spouse.
Okay.
Second, and this one sounds a bit insane, James Nestor in his book Breathe recommends taping your mouth shut at night. 3 pieces of
have the
surgical tape from your nose to chin. Have you done that?
Yeah, so they sell tape also that has a slit in it. So you can breathe, but it keeps your mouth like shut. All I know is I woke up without it on.
Yeah.
I went to sleep with it on. I woke up with it off. I think I have trouble. They say though you can train yourself to nose breathe more by working out with your mouth closed.
Oh, interesting.
And by trying to go through life with your mouth closed more.
Oh.
But I get, congested. But no, a lot of people do like this, trying to encourage nose breathing by taping your mouth shut.
Steven recommends these Bose noise masking sleep buds, which I got. I was given these for Christmas. They were $250, and then you have to sign up for like an app that you pay monthly that plays white noise. And I said, fuck that. And I returned them. I said, we're not spending $250 on that.
There you go.
All
right.
Barry from Botswana said couples typically slept in single beds until the 60s when the sexual revolution brought them together. Personally, I snore so loud it's like sleep yelling. Separate beds in the separate rooms works for us. We meet for relations in either bed. It's great sneaking around in the dark and jumping into someone else's bed for sex, then back into your own dry bed for a peaceful sleep. Nice. Nice.
Wow, look at that detail he snuck in there.
Fucking drop a load in your wife's bed and then leave.
It sounds like he's just like in the middle of the night kind of ambling up to her bed, pissing on her, and then going back to his bed for a good night's sleep.
Somebody wrote in, you were talking about the British term for getting drunk.
Yeah.
And Kim Romano says, I think what Gibbons was trying to remember on the most recent podcast was the British saying, I'm sorted.
Yep.
Like, I'm good or I'm done.
And I was going to bring it up today because I asked Sophie, 100% it's sorted.
Yeah.
I love the use of that word that way.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like, it's the Brit that she ran into on Corfu, and it was like they'd like see each other like mid-morning. It's like, how are you doing? Is it good? 5 pints for breakfast. I'm sorted.
It's like sorted means I'm normal. I'm back to my baseline.
Yeah. I'm so like things are in order.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what sorted means.
Yeah.
Yeah. In both, in literally and in this case.
Somebody else said that this guy Jack said it's stocious, meaning to be heavily inebriated. I think stocious is different than sorted.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like pissed.
And then Mark says, just a quick note on an alternative to Ticketmaster for resales. We had talked about how expensive it is to do resales. Check out Cash or Trade, awesome site and app that allows people looking for and unloading tickets for face value or under. The only fee you pay is a small percentage for insurance to cover any ticket fraud. Nice. Okay.
All right, wait. I have a story on that. So our friends, Dickie and Adrian at Rosie's Bagels.
Rosie's Bagels.
God.
If you live on the west side of L.A., hit them up. RosiesBagelsLA.com. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So they're, let me find this. So
deliver hot, fresh bagels to your house on Sunday mornings.
They're unbelievable. So I got to find this. It's where, here we go. So apparently, I don't know if it's Facebook, Flash Give. Okay. So he sent it to me. All right, I don't know what this thing, I think it's in Facebook. And it's an arrangement where if you're getting rid, it's for free stuff. It's like a Craigslist of free stuff. And it's like, do you want this? And it has some catchy name, which I'm forgetting. Anyway, so Dickie goes, we went on it, and he lives right up here in Santa Monica, and in kind of in my old neighborhood, a nice suburban little neighborhood. And he goes, this woman was getting rid of a fridge, like barely used. She just got a new one. She's like, I can't deal with it. If you can come by and take it out and all this, it's yours. So they got this fridge because they need the, for when all the bagels they're making and stuff, and they keep expanding. But he goes, so get this. He goes, you know what neighborhood I live in? And he's like, it's like, pretty nice. It's not the nicest, but it's very, and so here was one. I think the site or the thing is called Buy Nothing.
Uh-huh.
So it's, very well intentioned. Like, let's cut down on consumerism and all this. And he goes, but here was a listing in my neighborhood, right next to the fridge where he got Flash Give, half a pepperoni pizza. Let me know if there's any interest. We over-ordered. And there is a picture of the pizza box. And someone is giving away a half a pizza pie.
Great. That's great.
Yeah.
I could see Malloy being addicted to that site.
Oh, like gently used socks? I'm in.
Yeah.
You remember when Malloy, he saw a fabric up in a nest. It turned out to be like a squirrel's nest, and there was a sock in there.
Underwear.
Was it underwear?
It was underwear.
And he took it and washed it and wore it.
Yes, because his washer dryer is outside his house in a shed, and so he must have dropped the underwear on the way in, and the squirrel made a nest out of it, and yeah, started wearing it again.
Perfect.
What's that? Okay, let's get to the obituaries. Very sad week.
And that's all, folks.
And Hesh.
Oh boy. I'm glad we didn't do any of our jokes. We had jokes the day it happened because it was so outrageous, her driving into that house. But
TV and film credits included Cedar Rapids, Donnie Brasco. That was great. Donnie, is it Brasco or Brasco? Brasco, right?
I think it's Brasco.
And Hung, which was a fucking great movie. I got to get my kids to watch that.
Isn't it Hung a show on HBO?
No.
I think.
No.
All right. Anyway. I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different movie. Maybe you're
I
right.
think you are.
She started out on As the World Turns. I think she was a teenager when she started on that. And she won Daytime Emmys for that. She was, well, whatever. Everybody knows her credits. Nip Tuck and Men in Trees.
Wag
And
the
then she was on
dog.
Dancing on the Stars, Wag the Dog. But, you know, she really, I guess she was brain dead at the end.
I had heard different things, but I mean, it's probably all out there now, but I haven't read any stories. But I do know there was significant smoke inhalation, so she had to be intubated or whatever that is the second she got to the hospital.
You know what's crazy is she did that movie with Harrison Ford. What was it, 6 Days, 7 Nights or something?
Yeah.
And she crashed her car about 2 blocks from where Harrison Ford crashed an airplane at the Penmar Golf Course. This crash happened like 2 blocks from the Penmar Golf Course.
Well, Dickie, who we just mentioned with the bagels, he was the first one to point that out that I saw. Yeah, he why did the celebrities from this movie keep crashing in our neighborhood? But oh man, this is so. I don't know what went on. Apparently, no alcohol. I keep reading about cocaine, but
well, she crashed into one place. I don't know if it was another car or another house, but she
I
crashed
thought it was
her
like
car,
a garage, a little.
and then
yeah.
she kept driving, and then crashed again. I mean, how do you hit a house? I could see hitting a car. How do you hit a fucking house? She had to be on something.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
she
don't
was
know.
watching Ellen on her phone while she was driving.
Anyway, her poor kids. I think she has 2, and anyway, that what a way to go, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Here's another sad death. David McCullough,
great.
who's my favorite biographer, and I read a lot of biographies. Pulitzer Prize winner. They did a movie Seabiscuit based on one of his books, or he was the narrator of Seabiscuit. But I've read every one of his fucking books. The Jonestown Flood, which was incredible.
Johnstown, yeah.
Johnstown. They basically built this dam for some rich people so that they could have a pond to fish in at their country club. So they built a dam, and they didn't build it well. They just slapped it together, and it built up this huge fucking lake, and then it broke one night, and it killed thousands of people, or maybe hundreds. Yeah, 2,000 people died. And then he wrote the story of the making of the Brooklyn Bridge. That was incredible.
Yep.
Harry S. Truman biography, John Adams biography. They both won Pulitzer Prizes. HBO adopted that into a miniseries. And then he narrated Ken Burns' Brooklyn Bridge. But he was incredible. And I'm sorry he won't be writing anymore. So here's a quote from him. People often ask me if I'm working on a book. That's not how I feel. I feel like I work in a book. It's like putting myself under a spell. And the spell, if you will, is so real to me that if I have to leave my work for a few days, I have to work myself back into the spell when it comes back. It's almost like hypnosis. How many writers would love to be able to go under a spell?
I feel like I work in leisure, and it's impossible to get out of leisure mode to go
Right.
to work.
Right.
I have the opposite hypnosis going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously so prolific. I wonder about those guys. Like, after he gets going and gets so successful, like, does he have a team? You know, they talk in this. I read some of it here, like how meticulous he was at research with his subjects. You know.
Well, that's how he got started. Is he was going to be a fiction writer, and then he got a job to pay the bills doing research for a magazine, and he fell in love with research, and he realized that was his passion.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, let's cheer up. We need to cheer up after those two.
Yeah, I'd say Jesus.
Let's do the Sunday funnies. All right, in the first one, the Lockhorns. Leroy's sitting on the couch, unshaven, in his socks with his toe sticking out of his sock. He's got a beer in his hand, and he's got a slice of pizza in his other hand. He's watching TV, and Loretta says to her friend, "And he's all mine."
Yep.
Oh, that's so cruel. Here's another one. He's sitting at the dinner table, and they're eating, and he says, "I can't bite off more than I can chew, Loretta. I can't even chew what I bite off." Hey, Leroy, how about you fucking cook dinner one night instead of just sitting there complaining all the time? Give it a shot. And then in the last one, he's going into the. And again, what I love about the Lockhorns is they both shit on each other, and they keep it. Bunny keeps it very even-handed. There's always just as many shitting on him. So he's walking into the bathroom with a wrench and a pail, and she's wearing an inner tube, like a kid's inner tube you'd wear in a pool. And he goes, "Trust me, Loretta, I know what I'm doing." Hagar is.
I love those.
Hagar's coming home from the road. It's like me tomorrow. And
All right.
Helga's at the front door. She says, "Did the women flirt with you in France?" And Hagar said, "Yes, but I told them I was married." And she goes, "You offered them a challenge?" And he says, "I can't win. Maybe I should just tell her I raped."
It's weird. It says that.
Yeah, isn't that weird that there's always an extra frame? Did they
I
flirt?
thought-
Did they flirt in Viking days, or were they just petrified of being raped? I don't think
was there-
women were the aggressors.
I don't know if there was any need to flirt.
No.
I think that came with consensual sex.
Yeah.
I think, which is very recent. Very recent.
Yeah.
And also, boy, wouldn't the wife have a don't ask, don't tell policy regarding when he comes back from the road?
Yeah. Right.
How could she even bring it up?
Right. What happens in Egypt stays in Egypt.
Yeah. All right. So here, this reminds me a little of the Lockhorns. Here's Charles Adams. Oh, by the way, in North by Northwest, they reference Charles Adams like it was like a throwaway line. Like this is like something out of a Charles Adams cartoon. Like it was something like
No
that.
shit, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that movie was, I think, 1959. Anyway, here is a woman. I don't think I've showed this one before, but it just shows how dark this guy was. And I think this was from the 70s. But she's on the phone. Someone just called, and she came in from the garden, and she answers the phone. Can you see the cartoon at all? And the front door's open. Anyway, the front door's open, and she's talking on the phone, and she goes, "He's in the garden." And when you look out, you see a freshly dug grave, you know, with the shovel in it, and it's neatly like all, you know, she's done burying him. Anyway, in a very nice house with a nice painting and everything. So that's what he was talking, killing your spouse.
Yeah, there's a
Just
lot of spouse
casual,
killing.
funny humor about killing your spouse.
Yeah. But again, the women kill the husbands as often as the men kill the wives in his cartoons.
Yeah, that is true.
Speaking of husbands and wives, here's Blondie. I can't even speak. Dagwood and
Oh, my
Blondie are
God,
walking
she's
into what looks
barely
like a lake.
dressed.
She's got on a small red bikini. It's a string bikini.
Yeah.
And Dopey's got on a bathing suit, and he's way more cut than I've ever seen him. His skinny little ass, he actually looks like he has definition.
This is very generous.
And he goes, wow, when was the last time we went snorkeling? And she goes, too long ago. And he goes, let's see who can stay under the longest. And they put on their snorkels and their whatevers. And they go under the water. And then there's a thought bubble where Dagwood says, wow, even underwater, what a hottie.
This seems very unlike this cartoon.
It's like somebody else took over the cartoon for the week. I don't recognize this Dagwood. Not his physique, not his appreciation of how fucking hot she is. He's normally like a 12-year-old boy with an eating disorder. Not a husband, not a man, not an appreciator of his bounty.
Yeah, and he has cool, like, long bathing suit on.
It doesn't have donuts on it. He's not. Yeah, no. I don't know who took over Blondie this week, but I liked it. The second frame. How about that rack and that waist in that second frame?
Yeah, no, I like the bottoms too. They're
Yeah.
very much a string bikini.
Real good. Real good.
Real good.
All right, listen. Sunday Papers is over, but we want you guys to tell your friends, remind other people about the podcast, talk it up, go on Apple Podcasts and give us a review, leave a comment that really helps us go up in the ratings, and also don't forget to support our sponsors. This week we had the wonderful people over at Talkspace. You get $100 off your first month if
Yep.
you use our promo code, and also Raycon. Go to buyraycon.com/papers and get 15% off there. Anything you want to promote, Mike?
I don't think so. I want you to watch the rehearsal. That would be nice to be
All
able
right,
to talk to you about it.
This week, we're going to do it the night that we put Hannah down. We're going to need to cheer up, and we'll watch the rehearsal.
Well, I wouldn't say that'll do it, but
Oh, really?
It'll be a great distraction because what you want to do is talk about it. Like, what is it even? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
We want to thank Midcoast Media for their fine work and
Yes.
in doing this, and then we'll see you guys next week.
All righty, fella. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
All right.
The theme song doesn't have to say the name of the show. In fact, most of the best ones don't. Think about it.